Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Kyle Clark. The number of stray animal calls in Denver has nearly doubled since 2021. Yet Denver Animal Protection says budget cuts mean they have fewer employees to respond. 9 News reporter Ria shows us how they're making do.
Say you're on a walk and you happen to find a loose dog. Your first instinct might be to call Denver Animal Protection to come pick them up. The thing is, they might tell you to come bring them in yourself. In Denver neighborhood groups, the posts are constant. Lost dogs, found dogs, dogs running through traffic, and neighbors trying to help.
I think that we rely on that a lot with those community groups that are preventing animals from coming into the shelter.
That help matters more now than ever before. Josh Rolfe is a lieutenant with Denver Animal Protection who has watched the job change.
When I started here in 2010, the vast majority of our call volume was related to loose animals.
Whereas now,
a loose animal with no other information around it is going to be a lower priority call for us.
These days an officer might not be able to get there, and people might need to bring in the animals themselves.
But the guidance that they do give is like if the animal is already contained by the person calling in, if they have the animal on a leash, the easiest thing to do is to bring the animal to the Denver Animal Shelter.
Over the last 5 years, data from Denver Animal Protection shows the number of stray animals brought in by community members has more than doubled.
Having a reduction in staff means we have to reprioritize some of the things that we're responding out to.
Back in 2010, they had 18 active animal protection officers. Now, there are 11.
Due to, people leaving their positions and us having to recruit, we did also lose positions due to budget issues in the city last year.
Josh wants to be clear. They are not advising people to catch loose animals. Officers will try to respond when they can, but with the limited staffing, he says getting to the next call can't come at the expense of the one already in front of them.
I would say we always try to send an officer if business allows us to send somebody. I don't want them rushing through their job. I don't want them to do a disservice to a community member who might have been bitten or to an animal who might have been abused just so that they can get on to the next call and get that handled.
In Denver, Ria, 9 News.
Firefighters in Fort Collins are still working one of the 2 fires that started there last night. Poudre Fire says they'll be mopping up the East Mulberry fire through tomorrow. It led to voluntary evacuations when it started last night near the Springer Natural area. Those evacuations were lifted after a few hours. While firefighters were working to put out that first fire, another started not far away at Lee Martinez Park. Neither fire damaged any buildings or led to any injuries. We don't know what caused those fires at this point. 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi is along, and obviously when it's as warm as it was today, fire danger is top of mind for folks.
Absolutely, and unfortunately we're going to be dealing with it likely over the next few weeks. Just as a reminder, as of yesterday, our snowpack in the high country is fully melted off, which means that layer of protection that we have through most of the spring months, that is now gone, our 5th earliest melt-off on record with our snowpack. But on the southeast plains, we did get some beneficial moisture in parts of Prowers and Baca counties where that rain has since cleared, but still at least a little bit of moisture that'll tamp down fire danger there this weekend. And temperatures still on the mild side, upper 70s in Denver right now, 9 News backyard, 78 degrees. Temperatures mostly in the 60s and 70s, though still in the 80s in parts of southeast Colorado. Pretty toasty evening for us in mid-June, 70s in the mountains. Radar's pretty quiet. We did have some of those earlier storms in southeastern Colorado. Those have long since pushed out into Kansas. Next few hours will drop down into the 60s, and then we get a cold front that will move through tomorrow morning. In fact, we get 2 cold fronts tomorrow. First one moves through tomorrow morning. That will bring down those temperatures into the 70s for tomorrow. Then a second cold front tomorrow night will bring us clouds, even cooler conditions for Sunday, and the possibility for a few rain showers. I'll show you how much rain you might be able to expect coming up on Sunday, and a full look at that 7-day outlook. That's coming up in a few minutes.
Tonight, President Trump says the leader of the Tren de Aragua Venezuelan gang is dead. That operation had been a top target of his immigration enforcement agenda. During his campaign for president, Trump falsely claimed that TDA had conquered the city of Aurora. The president posted this video, which he said is the airstrike that killed Hector Rosenford Guerrero Flores. He says the U.S. military killed him in cooperation with the Venezuelan government. Did not say when or where this happened. In December, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York charged the TDA leader with ordering, directing, and facilitating acts of terrorism within the United States. Broncos linebacker Jonathan Cooper was arrested again last night, second time in a week. On June 4th, Cooper and his girlfriend were both charged with criminal mischief after court documents show they had an argument that turned physical. Prosecutors have now brought a felony assault charge against Cooper after a nurse determined he tried to strangle his girlfriend. If he's convicted of that felony, that would mean prison time. On top of that, he was arrested again last night after being accused of harassing this same girlfriend through a series of text messages, phone calls, and a visit to her home. Those charges are misdemeanors, but still quite serious, according to 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson.
Proven the conduct alleged recently on the part of Jonathan Cooper definitely escalates the potential for a prison sentence. It isn't just that these are misdemeanors added on top of the felony charge. It is misdemeanors that go to the very nature of our judicial process. Thou shalt not harass or intimidate a witness against you.
Cooper was released from jail today after posting a $5,000 bond. The NFL and the Broncos say they're monitoring the situation. Along with the criminal trouble, Cooper also faces discipline in the form of game suspensions or loss of pay. Denver's mayor has said that the city's surveillance cameras, license plate tracking cameras, deter crime. But Denver's license plate reading cameras were dark for all of April, and auto theft still dropped 29% from the prior year. Denver's contract with Flock, the license plate reader company that's been at the center of controversy, expired at the end of March. The city reached an agreement with a new vendor, Axon, but the transition left a gap. Denver had no automated license plate reader system active for the entire month of April. So it gives us some test data, right? Important to note that the drop in auto thefts in that month was not just Denver. Auto thefts down across the state. The Colorado Auto Theft Prevention Authority says changes in state laws they believe to be part of the reason.
There's not a single reason. It's a hugely large collaboration of things. It's not just one thing.
While auto theft dropped in Denver, arrest rates did as well, from 13% to 3%. DPD says there are some April cases that could still show up as future arrests and are not in the data we already have. Jeffco Public Schools says the Trump administration is misrepresenting its investigation on transgender students in Jeffco, and the district says the feds refused to correct the record. The U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights claims the district is violating the civil rights of female students in part by allowing transgender students to compete on sports teams that align with their gender identity. The feds are claiming that more than 60 male students are on girls' athletic team rosters, but the district says the rosters it provided to the feds don't show any male athletes. It says the teams do have some male managers, trainers, or mascots, but again, no athletes. The district says it has repeatedly asked the feds to publicly address this claim, but they've refused. We reached out to the Office for Civil Rights and have not heard back. The district says it's still hoping for continued dialogue with the Trump administration, but the feds have said they're at an impasse, and they're now threatening to pull federal funding. The well-financed effort to change how Colorado does elections is making another effort at convincing voters to move to so-called jungle primaries, where the top two candidates advance regardless of party.
Mint chocolate chip? Red or blue?
A group called Courageous Colorado is behind this new TV ad. The group wants to see if Coloradans, particularly the state's 2 million unaffiliated voters, would support a 2028 ballot measure to give every voter the same primary ballot, one containing all candidates regardless of party. Right now, unaffiliated voters who participate in a primary have to choose between the Republican or the Democratic ballot.
Every voter gets the same ballot during the primary season, and they can build the ballot the way they want. And they can actually do a Republican for governor, a Democrat for attorney general, a Green Party for state legislature.
The group is funded by wealthy donors across the political spectrum. Several states, including California, Alaska, and Washington, have already moved to some variation of those open primaries. The U.S. men's national team is only one match into the 2026 World Cup, but what a match it was. Some of their best soccer in recent memory. Opened up the group stage tonight against Paraguay, and it was not close. Opened with an own goal from Paraguay, and then the U.S. men piled it on, winning 4-1. Up next, they take on Australia next Friday afternoon in Seattle. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez is out at McGregor Square, one of a bunch of places in Denver where people gather to watch that match tonight. Colton?
Kyle, things have definitely calmed down here a lot. But there was a ton of energy while the game was going on, and for one fan that I talked to, he said the energy was so great that he had to take it all the way to LA to see it in person.
USA! USA!
All eyes are on Los Angeles, but here in Denver, Colorado,
Let's go USA!
fans are showing that World Cup fever has no zip code.
USA!
But watching from afar,
oh man, it was planning since at least 2 years.
wasn't enough for one family from Montrose.
This is the first time. It's it's a dream come true.
Chava Munoz and his fiance say LA feels like the whole world showed up.
I mean, right now, since yesterday, they're just people all over. I mean, you can see from every country. I mean, they're here. You see flags everywhere.
USA! USA!
Chava says buying World Cup tickets was not easy or cheap.
The first go around, I did not get drafted to pick out tickets for the FIFA. I waited on the waiting list for about 12 hours. Believe it or not, we paid $1,500 a piece.
A price that Chava says somehow feels reasonable after searching for resale tickets in his same section.
Pricing was going all the way to $4,000 to $8,000 in the same amount in the section. It's just been insane. It's a lot of money.
A lot of money for a priceless piece of history.
I'm excited, It hasn't really kicked in until we get to the stadium.
The chance to catch World Cup fever for the first time.
Seeing a World Cup game, and especially US, it's amazing.
It was definitely a great win for Team USA, and hopefully we can keep this momentum rolling. Live in Denver, Colton Chavez, 9 News.